Hey everyone, welcome to Encore, and today we're going to talk about the different lipstick finishes, specifically those that are from MAC. Hey everyone, welcome back. So, every now and then I will get an inquiry from a viewer asking how they can get a better coverage or, better color payoff on a certain lipstick that they just recently purchased from a collection. And then I would look it up, and then much to my findings that it's pretty much like a glaze finish or a luster finish, which is going to be sheer. So therefore, you're not going to be able to get the coverage and the color payoff you're going to want from those. So a good tip is that, before you get too excited about a certain color that's going to be coming out, make sure to check the finish as well, because that's going to make a difference. And, there are some sheer finishes that, it's going to be hard to get color payoff, whatever, it doesn't matter what you do with them, unlike, if it's a satin finish or a matte finish that's going to give you the most vivid, intense color, you're not going to be able to achieve, the same finish. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to go over, the finishes that MAC lipsticks have. So that way, some of you, especially those who are just starting out with makeup, will pretty much, get familiarized with the different finishes. So I'm going to start off with matte. Now, matte is basically as simple as that. No shine, no shimmer, no glitter, no pearlizing effects, no iridescence whatsoever. And basically it will give you the best intensity of color and also the best color payoff, okay, and probably the best coverage. And I'm just going to show you what a matte lipstick looks like. And this is Ruby Woo, and it's super dry looking, okay, so there's no shine to it. And when you apply it on, it's really, really intense. So as you can see, you get coverage without that satin shine. There's no glitter effects, no nothing. So, and you have to be careful with mattes because it can look dry on your lips. So you really, really need to moisturize your lips prior to applying this color. Okay, our next finish is called Satin. Now, Satin is much like matte, but it's not as flat, okay? It's got a little bit of that satin shine to it. So it gives you just a little bit more of that kind of glossy feel to it, or glossy texture. Now, one thing I like about satin is that it's a little bit more conditioning to the lips, and it's not as drying as matte would, okay? And if you look at this stick, you can see it's got that nice satin shine to it, okay? And I'm just going to swatch this right into my hand so you guys can see the difference. And this one is called Film Noir, okay? And there you go. See the matte and see the satin? You still get that intensity in color and the coverage, but the satin has a satin shine to it, and it's not as dry looking or as flat looking as matte would be. So that's what a satin finish would be. Okay, next we move on to Amplified Cream. Now, Amplified Cream is basically just probably the most emollient of all the lipstick, because it's really creamy, it's ultra creamy, and it's shiny, so it's much like satin, but it can also come in different kind of finishes, from, that pearlized look to a more iridescent look, and it's really color packed as well, so it's just as good as a satin or a matte would be, but it's just the texture is a lot more creamier. And this one is called Emphatic. As you can see, there is a shine to it, okay, and I'm just going to swatch this right next to the satin, and there you go. So it's really creamy looking. You get, kind of like the same coverage with it. Now, one thing that you need to be careful with amplified creams is that it can feather on you, so it can run a little bit, in your lip line. So it's best to use a lip liner if you're using an amplified cream lipstick, because it is going to slide on your lips. especially, you know, if you have a little bit of, you know, fine lines around the lip area, you know, if you have crevices in there, it's definitely going to sink into those. So make sure to lip line prior to using an amplified cream lipstick. Okay, so our next finish is called Frost. Now Frost, you get excellent color payoff, but this is the finish that pretty much gives you, you know, that glittery look or that pearlized look or maybe that chromed look. And some of them are pretty iridescent. And this is what it looks like. Now this is Fresh Buzz. We're going to swatch. And there you go. So you can see it's medium coverage. So it's not really as intense as these ones, but it's not really sheer either. So it gives you a medium coverage, but you can see the iridescent, the pearlized effect to it, or what we call a frost look. So therefore, that's what you get from a frost lipstick. Okay, so moving on to our next finish, it's called Lustre. Now, this is Viva Glam 5 and also Viva Glam 6 are Lustre finishes. And basically the lusters are demi-sheer, okay? So you probably just get that lip gloss look when you use a luster, okay? But, you know, it's not as sheer as what a gloss would be, but it's not going to give you a coverage either. And one thing I like about lusters is that, you know, it gives you that wet look when you apply this on. So you get, you know, that moist lips, you know, that nice wet look, you know, that can be great in, you know, depending on the different looks you do. I'm just going to swatch that right there. As you can see, it's sheer. So you can still see the skin color underneath it. Okay, but it's not as frosty as a frost would be. And you'll still get a little bit of color, but it'll still, you know, give you it'll give you that moist, wet look. Now you have to be careful about lusters, because if you have, you know, naturally dark lips, you know, from, you know, the natural pigmentation of your lips and the dark side, then, you know, you might not get the color that you get from the stick, because, you know, the underlying color is going to seep through. So just keep an eye on that. So that's a luster finish, and then we're going to move on to the sheerest of all, which is the glaze. Now, glazes, usually, this is a glaze, you get beautiful color from the stick, but once you apply this on, you're going to get better coverage from a lip gloss. So you have to keep an eye on the glaze finish, because it's just that. It's just a glaze on top of your lips. So this is, what is this one? This is Over Rush, and it's kind of like a beautiful coral color. And I'm just going to actually swatch this right on the side over here so you guys can see. And there it is. You get like the tint, but it's still sheer that you can see the skin underneath this. So if you apply this onto your lips, it's, you know, you're not going to get coverage. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on, you know, especially if there's a collection out that has a glaze finish, and then make sure to check that out. So it's basically just going to give you a tint, and it's very sheer. Okay, it's definitely sheerer than a luster would be, and you just basically get the tint. So, you know, if you compare that to the stick, it looks beautiful in the stick, you know, which can be deceiving, but once you apply it on, it's going to be sheer. Okay, so hopefully that information helps you guys out, especially those of you guys who are starting out with makeup. And so the next time that there's a lipstick collection that's coming out, make sure to check the finishes, because that's very important. And you can easily do that by hovering over, just doing a mouse hover over, you know, the lipstick color, and usually there's going to be a little box that's going to pop up, and it's going to tell you a little bit of a description of the color, and then it's going to give you the finish, whether it's Frost, Amplified Cream, Luster, Matte, Satin, or whatever it is. So until next time, thanks for joining me again, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye!